How's it going, guys? David here. Yes, I am Goku for the time being. I'm shooting this on Halloween night, so therefore well, it's not so much a costume, it's more like an attire, but it gave me an excuse to not really worry about my hair. So that's the bright side. Anyways, I'm doing a very quick series of videos talking about some of the latest game trailers that came out of Paris Games Week 2017, mainly on PlayStation's part. And there were so many trailers to kind of talk about. I already touched up on Spider-Man, and so now the next one is God of War. Very quick trailer, only about 2 minutes, and it really didn't show an awful lot. It was mainly just Kratos and his son, whose name escapes me, being in this room with this creature that Kratos presumably thinks is a bad guy, but his son is there, is like saying, no, it's fine. But then some enemies arise, and it shows a very seamless transition between a in-game cutscene that looked pre-rendered CG, and then immediately we just seep right into the gameplay, and it's beautiful. It's one of the very firmest ways of showing how far the PlayStation 4 has come, and I'm glad to see that such attention to detail and devotion to creativity, and at the same time devotion to exploiting, quote-unquote, the power of the PlayStation 4 is being applied to a franchise flagship game like the upcoming God of War reboot. So that's very, very cool. And so far it looks pretty good, the graphics as well as the gameplay. I'm interested to see the shift in gameplay where it's not so much hack and slash as it is more of a third-person action game where it's more over the shoulder slide-ish, while at the same time trying to retain as many of those mechanics from God of War that you remember, mainly centered around this Nordic axe that looks like it has its own Mjolnir type of mechanic to it, where it kind of comes back to you like a boomerang, and that's going to be cool to kind of really use. Other than that, we really don't get an awful lot from this trailer aside from, I'm sorry, but I have to say it, somewhat of a cheap jump scare there at the end. It was like, what is it? What do you think it is, Father? I don't know, but it doesn't sound good. It's just like, okay, whatever. You know, I expect this out of a movie trailer, not out of a God of War trailer, but I digress. One thing that does worry me, because I can confidently say that was just a thing for the trailer, what worries me just a little bit in terms of the game and how this is kind of injected into the game is that kid, is Kratos' son. Because Kratos is just so serious, and there's a mythology behind this character, there's a history there that we all know following the God of War games, and then in comes this kid, and we didn't really see this with the prior trailers, but in this trailer, I did find the kid to be doing a little bit too much, I don't want to say slapstick, but he was just making certain comments that tonally just didn't fit with the franchise. Even if this new God of War reboot is taking the Last of Us approach, like so many people have been quick to comment on, but then we got this kid who I think at one point he says awesome, and he just has a tone to his voice that's just like, I really hope they kind of fix that a little bit. And the reason why I'm a little nervous is because you may argue that, oh, you know, they might touch upon that. In fact, they might just cut out that line of dialogue altogether and just refine a little bit here and there. But I am actually willing to put myself forward and say I'm willing to bet, even money, that this game is slated for a potentially March release, because they keep saying early 2018. I believe the last two console God of War games came out on a March 2010 saw the release of God of War 3, March 2012 saw the release of God of War Ascension. I do not remember the release dates of the first two games, but the last two console based games, not the PSP or whatever, they were March releases, and they kept saying early 2018, and also they've been showing an awful lot of gameplay footage from the trailers and the montages and stuff like that up until this point that we don't get just typical vertical slices, minus that first one when they first unveiled the project. Since then, they've been cutting back and forth between so many things that it almost seems like they have a really large chunk of the game already completed. And then on top of that, I know this is a very minute detail, but every trailer has ended with what seems to be box cover art. Whenever a game already has box cover art with a little shiny PS4 blue case right there, that gives me a slight notion that they are ready to start shipping this thing. I don't want to say immediately, but just right around the corner. And if that is the case, then I'm hoping that maybe they could take some time right now to fix a few of those tonal issues with the kid, because if he's going to be spouting things like that throughout the entire game, that might be a slight little crux for me as I play it. That's my own personal opinion, however. Now I want to hear from your guys. Post in the comments below, how do you feel about this new God of War trailer? It was a little bit on the short side, but maybe it kind of tickled your sweet murderous spot coming from the God of War franchise because you're craving for a new God of War game? Or do you think that maybe something might be a little bit off with this new approach, especially with the inclusion of the kid, who doesn't bother me? I mean, he doesn't annoy me. I'm just scared that he might just be pushing things a little bit too far on the comedic side, that I honestly would not even be surprised if this game ends up being teen rated, because not even these monsters showed any kind of like blood or satisfying kills. They just kind of like disappear. So I'm like, I don't know, they're gonna be kind of watering or numbing this down a little bit as opposed to what we're used to. Who knows? That's my own little opinion. Let me know what your guys in the comments below. Make sure you show your support with the video by hitting the like and share button, as well as your support for the channel by hitting the subscribe button to stay tuned for future videos, especially some of these videos that I'm talking about with the Paris Games Week trailers that have been released, because I'm really stoked to talk about them, and I'm hoping that you guys kind of chime in on the conversation. Until next time, guys, take care. And I can't get it out of my iPod either. It's on my iPod. I'm not kidding. My girlfriend caught me listening to it one time. She considered breaking up with me.